Welcome to the Cradle Brew, helping you keep your cradle juices brewing. We're giving out chunks of insight, motivation, and practicality for your cradle journey. All right. Welcome to a new episode of the Cradle Brew, and we are here at Canos Comics and Coffee Bar here in Oceanside, California. If you're in the area, please come by. They have some of the hottest comics and graphic novels out to date. They have some great coffee, great treats, and hey, if you're looking for an event space, they also rent out this place for any kind of event, any kind of occasion. They've done bridal showers in here. They've got organizational meetings, all kinds of things. So if you're interested in something like that, hey, please contact them on Instagram at Canos Coffee, or you can check out the website at canoscoffee.com. And today I got my good friend Cano, like Americano, and host of the Caffeine and Green podcast, awesome podcast. If you hadn't checked it out yet, please subscribe to them. Please check it out. He's got some great guests on that show, and he was able to get me on there for an episode, and we, like I said, had a great conversation. So I had to bring him up for one. I was like, it's one of those where I'm definitely real big on always promoting people that's doing their own thing. But I think sometimes you get you connect with those people that you got the same vibe, and you just want to keep talking to them and keep picking their brains. So I was like, I want to get him on. I was like, I got to figure out a way to get him back on for up here at least for an interview for the Cradle Brew. For everyone that doesn't know you, tell a little bit about yourself. I know you, but perhaps some of the audience would like to hear your story and how you got to where you are now.
Okay. I am a coffee roaster. I'm the head roaster currently right now for Seven Seas Roasting Company in downtown San Diego, or South Park, I should say. I've been a skateboarder for probably my whole life. I started real young, and that kind of led me to where my life kind of went down. It was mainly about skateboarding for a majority of it till like my late 20s until I got hurt. I broke the L5 vertebrae in my back and dislocated my hip, and it was by far one of the most traumatic experiences physically for me, because it was very, very painful. But at the same time, it was also a life-changing event. It was transforming in so many different ways, on so many different levels, and it something where I was so identified with being a skateboarder as my identity, and that I didn't know anything else. Like everything I did, whether it was like smoke cigarettes or drink, or party or live a crazy life, it was all because it was a skate life.
Yeah.
Like, this is what you're doing.
Yeah.
And throw caution to the wind. Every adult at the time, your body's going to hurt when you're like 40, 50 years old, 30s, whatever. And then, or, just, under the sun, that's what people would say. And, they weren't wrong. I'm in my early 30s right now, but I definitely have some pains. But, as long as you work out, everything's pretty chill. But that all said, that's why Caffeine and Green kind of like led me to you. It's led me to a lot of people just in general. Mm-hmm. But it's because one of the key things, and a lot of the homies, shout out my homie Shay Cooper. He was actually I was just talking to him right before this because he owns Steel Mill Coffee right down the street.
Okay, yeah.
He was like, yo, hit me up. But he was on my first podcast ever. And it was because of skateboarding. And he's like he's a coffee shop owner. He's a amateur skateboarder, almost professional.
Yeah. And
skateboarding helped me out. A lot of the homies that still come on that are, just great homies, or they're on the level. They're on, I have my friend Chris Russell, who is, sponsors skateboard. He's in the X Games. He's sponsored by Red Bull. He does these things. So it's like these guys help me out. But then along the way, I meet amazing people like yourself, or I'll meet, I have chefs on. I'll have... you name it. I had a screen printer on yesterday. I have multiple screen printers. I have skate magazines. I have other coffee people, coffee roasters, whatever you name it. They're on there. And then, just trying to stay healthy too.
So when did you have the initial idea? Because I actually asked this from a previous episode with my boy Logan with Cola Bottle, and there was a almost like a crux point, one event that made you have the decision to be like, okay, I'm going to do this is something I want to create. And he had that event, specifically with him. It was in a while he was surfing and about drowned, and that from there he made the decision to be like, okay, I want to help create Kobo Bottle and do something that's more sustainable for the planet. Do you feel like there was a point in your in your life right now to where you felt like, okay, this is something I felt like I need to create, or maybe, like I said, you might be able to clarify a little bit better as far as when was that decision to be like, okay, how did I'm going to create the Caffeine and Green podcast, and what things sort of evolved to be able to produce something like that?
Definitely not just one, but there was two moments, and I can do it almost to the T. I can describe it to you. I love music and I listen to it all the time. But when I was working in the production facility at Zumbar Coffee and Tea, I worked with Shay.
Yeah.
And it was just me and him, and I'd be listening to music and I just got over it. And then I don't remember at what point or why, but it's something that basically came up. It's like, hey, listen to Joe Rogan.
Yeah.
So I started listening to it and I fell in love with it. And I was like, yo, they have so many smart people, and I felt like invigorated almost. Like just little hour things of amazing smart people. I mean, one of the first podcasts I listened to was about wolves and gray wolves and how they've migrated from Canada to here, and they've spread out throughout the United States.
Oh, wow.
And I don't know anything about that, and I was just so intrigued. I was like, oh my God, this is amazing.
Yeah.
And then, fast forward, a skate podcast. I found out about a skate podcast called The Nine Club. Mm-hmm. And I'm a skateboarder, obviously. I love skateboarding. I geek out. The way you call yourself a comic book geek, I'm a skate rat. Like, skate geek, I don't care. Still to this day, you can go on my Instagram and guarantee there's a bunch of skateboarding on
it. I see it all the time.
Yeah, so it's like, I love it still, and I'll still skate now, luckily, but what had happened is I listened to that podcast, and this is not to throw shade at homie, but like, as a host, I didn't think he was doing as good a job as he could be doing, and I'm not saying by no means I'm like not a professional, but for me personally, I was like, I like what he's doing, but it can definitely be improved on, and I want to do my own thing. And I was like talking to Shay, and I said, dude, we could really, like, the amount of people that we know, like, just throughout the skate community, I think we could have like a sick podcast. Yeah. But then it morphed from skate to like, yo, I don't want to just have skate, because I'm in coffee, I skateboard, I also I can talk to anybody, so I can find common ground with you. Like, I might not know anything about comic books, but we could talk about wrestling or jiu-jitsu or health or like in-depth conversations. So that's where it kind of morphed from. Yeah. Fast forward again, I leave Zumbar. I take a head roasting job at a company that I won't even try to shout them out. But this company that was just absolutely horrible. And I went into a corporate office, and dude, I am not a corporate office person. And I just tried it for this one time. Yeah. And then, long story short, we stopped roasting, and I found myself sitting in my cubicle, not doing anything, getting paid to be there. Mm-hmm. I don't feel shame about saying I wasn't doing anything, because I was getting paid to do the one job I couldn't even do it. We couldn't turn the roaster on legally. So I was just sitting there, and I had a yellow notebook. It was the Harry Potter. It's the Hufflepuff. I turned out to be Hufflepuff at Universal Studios. So I got the Hufflepuff notebook, and I was about to call the podcast Hustle and Motivate. Mm-hmm. But then from the time that I started to the time that I was like, no, I'm really going to do the podcast, about half a year had gone by. So I'm sitting, and I was like, they took the name Hustle and Motivate. What am I going to do? And then I started like kind of jotting names down. And in this notebook, I still have it. I have like my pencil drawings, and it's like caffeine and like in cursive. And then it was like and green in capital letters. But then it kind of morphed, and I was like, caffeine and green. And that moment when I was sitting there, I was like, yeah, this is it. This is going to be the moment. And you had asked, like, is there a moment, like, did I feel like I needed to create it? It wasn't even like I felt that I needed to. It's one of those things, I think we even touched on this on your episode of my podcast. There's certain things in life that it just happens. You just know that you're supposed to be doing that, or not following your logic, but following your gut. Yeah. And there's just something that was so like pulling me towards it, because everybody said how easy it is to do a podcast, but dude,
Oh.
when you're really getting to the nitty gritty, and you like, unless you're an audio engineer and you're teaching yourself, dude, it's not easy.
Yeah, no.
Once you get
a crash course.
Yeah, it's like once you get a hang of it, then it's like plug and play. You're like, okay, you know what to do. But learning audio interfaces, learning what mics to get, everything.
Yeah.
It's really hard. So and it just was like, why am I even doing this? Like, why am I could be putting this focus into something else.
Yep.
But it was just something that I was like, dude, I still to this day, I was in the gym the other day, forgot my headphones. I'm on the T-bar row, pulling up. I'm like, what's the point of the podcast? Like, why are you going to do this? Like, why, what is the point? And I'm like pumping and I'm pumping and I'm pumping. And then I'm like, to network, to like grow the network and just to keep, and it like came to me.
Yeah.
And it was just like, boom, I just follow that. And so that's what led me to the podcast. So it was that, and being in the production facility, and then also being in that cubicle.
Yeah.
It's like, I was hating my life.
Yeah.
And I felt creatively contained or trapped.
Yeah.
And getting paid a salary to do nothing, I started creating a name. Yeah. And then it just was like, oh, before I knew it, I still had to be at this job, but it was like, hey, I would book the podcast out for a month, one a week. Mm-hmm. And then all week, all I would do was think about that next week. Yeah. It was like, I'm going to promote this. I'm going to do this. Oh, on this day, I'm going to do this thing. And then on this day, I'm going to do this. And it was like, boom, I didn't even care. I'd go to work and I like hated work. And I was just like, it's fine. I'll just work on the podcast. Like,
yep.
And that was it. So I got paid to work on my podcast. Yeah.
That's great. That's great. Yeah. I do get I've been getting more. I find myself even, putting out, certain content with the Cradle Brew. I've been starting to get more messages, specifically through Instagram from other, people that's trying to, get their brand started, or artists that's, they may feel like they're stuck in a job and like they don't know where to go. Like they've got artistic talent, but they don't know how to funnel, that creative talent to something that's going to be, sustainable, financially or anything like that. What would you say to anything like that? I mean, I know in your situation, you were stuck, and I know it would drive me crazy. Did you, for you, did you just feel like, okay, this is, with your corporate job, this is just, a means to an end, so to speak, to where you're using this to help funnel, what you want to do? Or did you feel like you was just trapped with, like no way out, and you're trying to figure out how to get out of this job? I didn't know for you what was, how you sort of viewed that corporate job.
I would definitely say both, but and from the like that first part of the question, definitely was, that's how I felt at the beginning. Mm-hmm. By the end of it, it was definitely the latter part of that question. Yeah. It's such a complicated, because like I can go so crazy with it, but to simplify it, it's like, I have a college degree. I like came from marketing and sales and PR, and dude, I hated it. Yeah. And I wasn't corporate necessarily, but it just was not me. Yeah. And fast forwarding, moving my life into coffee, I was no stranger to hustling. Mm-hmm. Like I came back here to be with my wife, and because I'm from the Bay Area, and I came back down, and I was like, if I'm not going to do what I have my degree in or what I've been doing for the last 5 years, I need to do something that I'm passionate about. And it's like, bro, I went into work at a coffee shop at Zumbar Coffee and Tea, and they're paying you $12.50 an hour, and it's like, yo, you're washing dishes, you don't even get to touch anything. It's just like, start from the bottom. Like the song, started from the bottom, now we're here. Like on the real, that's what it was. And so it was like, work there, and then I would work at like a cycling shop, and then I worked for Deepak Chopra at the Chopra Center. Oh wow! Like doing meditations and stuff like that, and all these things happened, and I fast forward a couple years, and then it was like, okay, I'm not going to work 3 jobs like that. I'll just invest in a car, and I'll do Uber and Lyft. Mm-hmm. So it'd be like 4:30 to 7, drive Uber and Lyft. Yeah. 7 to 3, work at the coffee shop. 3 to 5:30. Drive. Yeah. To make the money, and then if you can, definitely got to go to the gym. If not the gym, you have to train because you're training for the marathon.
Yeah.
So it's like, just go.
Yeah.
I didn't want to do that anymore because it was like, this can't be real. Is this really what my life's going to be like? And then I had an opportunity to take a head roasting position, and it was like back to where I was salary-wise, and I was like, okay, cool, I'm about to get married. Like, yo, this is like, yeah, make that move.
Yeah.
And then I went against my gut again. I have a habit of going against it because I'm like, this is the logical thing to do because you want the paper.
Yeah.
About the paper. And then once you have the paper, everything else is going to be fine.
Yeah.
I was only making $3,000 more, but I was working like Monday through Friday, 9 to 5, like benefits, everything, instead of 6 to 7 days a week, making only $3,000 less, but grinding, like tough.
Yeah.
So it was like, to get into that job, hell yeah. I was like, paper, like, yo, no problem. But then at the end, because I realized I had made the wrong choice, life was so bad, dude. Mm-hmm. It was like, my wife was like, I just want you out of the job. I don't care. She's like, I'll float you. I was so miserable that, and it wasn't till I started doing the podcast, and I've been a skateboarder, a jock. Whatever I did, it was like, I just thought it's because I loved what I was doing, I could create it.
Yeah.
It wasn't till I did the podcast, I'm just a creative.
Yeah.
And it took all of that, to really realize why I wanted to create Caffeine and Green, and now it's taking on its own thing, and it really gives me a chance to shine. I mean, I'm not getting like paper off of it. It's fully just something that I want to do, but it puts me back on that grind and that hustle.
Oh yeah,
and I appreciate that.
Yeah, yep. I know. I'll get people ask me. I'll tell them all the things that I've got going. I was just in a given day, and they're like, well, where do you have the energy for all that? And I was like, it's in the routine. I mean, it's one of those to where I'm an early bird. I'm usually up about 4:30, 5 o'clock, and I'm going from there. I was like, I'm not, there's no naps, no.
Yeah.
And but it's just like getting in that routine. It especially getting that workout in and everything in the morning. That just gives me the energy that I need to sort of get the things that I need done. It could be getting client work done, and then it might be something with some orders with Just Heart. And then, trying to get content together for the Cradle Brew and get interviews together, trying to send out information to, for potential sponsors and, just all kinds of things. So it's one of those where I think if I didn't have that routine, I would just, I'd be going crazy right now.
But you don't think you'd be able to channel it into something else?
I think I could. I think it's just one of those to where, honestly, I think if I hadn't started been a little bit, doing some more mindfulness things like meditation and things like that, I think now I could definitely focus it towards something else. Before that, I think I would have been too scatterbrained because a lot of times I'm one of those where like ideals sort of pop in my head about every couple of minutes, and a lot of times I'll have to like put it in my phone, like, oh, I got an idea for something, and I'll put it in my phone. And now it's sort of forced me to be like, okay, I may have 10 ideals. Well, what's 3 good ones I know I can work on right now? Instead of me just trying to get at every ideal, and because I know it's not feasible, it's not going to work. So what's for me, I may come up with like 10 good ideals, and then I'll be like, okay, what are 3 great ones that I know I can work on right now that's going to push me forward? That's where I'm at right now, and just trying to definitely trying to grind from there. But yeah, I do. I always appreciate it. I always like seeing the the mindset as far as for with other people like you and others, like how they operating. What things are they doing right now, and then even from what I've heard from you, I mean, there's been no excuses whatsoever. It's one of those where like I'll have people come up to me and be like, well, I've got, I want to do this, but I've got this problem and this problem and this problem. And I think it just comes down to where like now there's really no excuse. I mean, we got social media, we've got technology. We've got the most powerful computer on the planet in the palm of our hands right now. And we have all the resources. It's just we're not resourceful enough. And I think with people like you and others, you're just resourceful. Like you figure out a way to, you keep going, and things happen. You just keep adapting and keep changing, and definitely on the creative side, you definitely want to find some kind of outlet, some kind of channel to be able to express that creativity. That's the biggest thing I tell a lot of people is just you don't ever get bottled up. Figure out a way to, even if you have a regular job, use a portion of that money and funnel it towards a passion project or funnel it towards something that you want to create on the side. And then eventually, if it's something to where it comes big enough, then replace it. If you see it as just something on the side, then keep it like that. But it's something to where you can express your creativity. I've seen a lot of people to where they'll have a degree in art or anything like that, and something happens where they may not be able to find a job in that specific industry, and they just give up on it. And I think personally for me, I think I've just been too stubborn not to give up.
Dude, you just have to keep going.
Yeah,
that's life.
Yeah,
what are you gonna give up on life? Like,
yeah, it's So it's one of those where like there's good and bad that it happens to everyone. There's sometimes like I said, I have bad days too, and it's one of those where I get up each day and be like, hey, look, today's a new day, and I'll do what I can to be as productive as I can. But yeah, I think I think everybody's got the same 24 hours.
Yeah.
Unless you're breaking the laws of physics and you got 26. I don't know, but
what are you gonna do in those 24 though?
Yeah. Yep. And I think that's the thing. It's one of those where it's real easy to check out something on Netflix or I know my wife. She's been trying to get me on the Kardashians. I've been starting, and I was like, no, I'm not trying to watch that stuff. So
I can't throw shade because I know about the Kardashians. Yeah. My wife's the same way, but yeah.
But I know there's something, and like I said, now I've actually started. The book, the graphic novel I talked about. I've actually printed out the physical pages. So I've been going through and rewriting, but it's forced me to go to the book now. Like I've got the physical pages. Now I'm going through, and now I see it starting to speed up a little bit more.
Yeah.
With that, but
good for you, man.
Yeah, I appreciate it. But yeah, it's just one of those where like I don't have time for pity. I don't have time for I'm definitely compassionate, but I think everybody sometimes people come up with too many excuses. Where
dude, there's no excuse. I mean I could think of so many different things to say about that. Like my friend Shanti. He told me once, he's like, dude, how many times, because I've graduated college already, but I went back to college just to learn Spanish, to like do more Spanish, to get better, more fluent, just understand the structure of the knowledge a lot better.
Yeah.
And he's like, dude, why are you going back? He's like, everything you're learning right now, you could just learn on YouTube.
Yeah.
It's like, if you're going to go to school 2 days a week for 3 hours, he's like, those same days, just do the same thing and just hold yourself accountable to it.
Yeah.
And I couldn't agree more. I mean, I did the same thing with the podcast and everything that you do. Dude, you have to invest in yourself. You have to believe in yourself because literally nobody else on the planet is going to do it. Nope. Doesn't matter. Your mama can love you, but she's not going to feed you.
Yep.
I mean, you're a grown-ass man or woman, and it's like, yo, are you going to give up? Are you going to stop going? Hell no.
Yeah.
Like last night, just for example, Yesterday, I had to go to work. I had to be there from 6 to 2. From 2 o'clock to about 3:30, I was like packing, getting stuff, moved into my new apartment. Boom, got the apartment done. I'm like, all right, I got to get the workout in real quick. Booked it down to the gym. Got to the gym at like 4:30. Got out of there by 5:30. Showered, 6 o'clock. I go from 6 o'clock to 6:30. It takes me a half hour to get to the cafe to do a podcast.
Yeah.
Do the podcast from basically 6:30 till about roughly 10. Mm-hmm. So it was like an hour of chilling, getting stuff, whatever. And then 2-hour podcast.
Yeah.
It's like, okay, boom. Homies are there. Pack everything up. Target closes at midnight. I still got time. 10:18, boom, hit Target. And then it's like, I haven't even eaten yet. Gotta go eat. Boom, get to eating, like chill for 1 second outside of my house. All right, it's 11:45. I got to get up at 5 o'clock. I gotta go to sleep, dude. I went in, said what up to my roommate. All right, cool, boom. And then it was like, gotta go to sleep. And then, dude, before I knew it, I looked over. It's midnight. Boom, done. It was like, oh. And then you wake up, it's 5 o'clock, and it started all over again.
Yep.
And it's like repeat.
Yep.
You're on my schedule today. Boom. Tomorrow I got another thing, and then another podcast. It's like, do you know who C.T. Fletcher is?
Yes. Yeah.
The bodybuilder?
Yeah.
He has this one video that I listen to sometimes at the gym or just in general to get up in the morning. It's called I'm the One. Mm-hmm. He's like, I'm the one your mama warned you about. And he's like always saying, profane words.
Yeah.
But I love it because he's like, people just think you're going to wake up one day and be yoked. Like, yo, you know what I mean? Like, yo, that was like such a metaphor because it's like, dude, you can want a six-pack. Yeah. You can want to get that Beamer. You can want to get that. But you're not just going to will it into existence. You got to, put in the time, pay your dues, go in there, do a million abs, a million sit-ups until you get that six-pack. You got to work your ass off on the days when nobody else wants to work. You're going to work overtime. When nobody else wants to get up, you're getting up.
Yep.
You're getting up, shoveling that snow. Whatever you want to put it to, apply it that way.
Yep.
And then you're going to get what you deserve, and you're going to get what comes to you. And then sometimes you're not, bro. Like, sometimes, hey, that's just the cookie crumbles, but it's how you get up.
And we're back with a new episode of the Cradle Brew. If you've been tuned in with Cano, head roaster at 7 Seas Roasting down in, I guess San Diego, but what
South
part?
Park.
South Park. And he's also brought me fresh bag. I will be trying it out. And we're talking about life. We're talking about creativity. We're talking about his podcast, Caffeine and Green Podcast. If you get a chance, please subscribe to it. Check it out. Comment on it. Great podcast. But yeah, we're just talking about the natural evolution of things and how he started the Caffeine and Green Podcast and even just all the things that he's all of his interests and things like that. How creativity definitely plays a part in just the natural evolution of things and if you're in a situation if there's something to where like you feel like you can't you might be stuck in a certain job, this might be the episode for you. This might be it might be something that Cano says in this episode that may trigger you or may give you a different perspective on how you view where your situation is at, and then figuring out how to use the talents and gifts that you got and go from there. So this is what the podcast is about. This is what specifically what this episode is about, is just figuring out how to using your creativity, getting yourself out of a certain situation, and then going from there. It's not gonna be perfect. It's not gonna be perfect, but if you've got the right amount of intentional energy and passion and drive, you can go anywhere you want to. So going back. And I'll ask a few more. Got a few more questions here, but we'll go because I know you're a hip hop aficionado.
Yes.
What is name me your top 5 hip hop or rap artists?
Okay. Now you said current day because that's
we'll go current day right now.
Okay.
Right
Because I was like, dude, if we're going all time, like, yo, that's a whole different five guys. This is I was like, I knew you were gonna ask me questions, but I was specific in writing only this one question down because I was like, yo, this is important, hella important. Number 1 right now, my favorite rapper is DaBaby. Yeah. Like 100% love him right now. I think he's a gangster rapper. He's a trap rapper, but he actually can spit bars like hard, which doesn't really happen in today's day and age of rappers. So really like him. Number 2, of course, is Nipsey Hussle. Yeah. I honestly, he's like one of the biggest motivators in my entire life. Didn't ever know dude, but it was something that was just so pivotal. When I heard his music, it changed the way I thought about why I was grinding so hard. Yeah. So DaBaby, Nipsey Hussle. A very close number 3 is Mac Miller, R.I.P. Mm-hmm. His last album, Swimming or whatever. It's I actually don't know what the name of the album is, but I know what the cover is. But I listen to it almost every day. Yeah. Number 4 would be Joyner Lucas, another newer rapper, but he just bars. He raps super fast and love it. And then as of late, a lot of Gangstar. Okay. Like old school Gangstar. Yeah. Definitely Full Clip. Definitely Militia. Any type of like It's like it's Two Times in Past or something like that. That's like one of my favorites. It looks like a big flat blunt, like a big plump blunt in your hand. Like, oh, it's like, I love this. But then he just dropped a new album too, so it just got me like all re-stoked on it.
Yeah.
And then also, as like, I think maybe like a tied for fifth would be definitely like a Bad Boy.
Okay.
Bad Boy Entertainment. Anything that came out of Bad Boy in like the early 90s, I've been bumping pretty hard.
Okay, cool. So, what things are inspiring you right now?
I definitely would say inspiring me right now, working out has definitely been like a big motivator. Business owners.
Yeah.
People who have taken the leap. People who are self-sufficient.
Yeah.
People who are independent, and they're making their own way. I think through the podcast, I've started to meet people who don't have a boss. They are their own boss. They're out here grinding every day.
Yeah.
You know, some of my homies, shout out to my homie Manny at Don't Forget Coffee. It's a donut company that he makes. We saw all of his donuts at our coffee shop, but he has a daughter, and all he's doing, like he quit his job and he makes donuts full time. That's what he does. And I mean, I just met this lady I was telling you about today, Marie. She owns her own bar. Just people like that, man. Marco Maestoso, he's a Michelin star nominated chef down in San Diego.
Yeah.
He has his own restaurant, and he has a crazy story when he came on my show. He was like, started from his apartment in New York City, like all of kind of having the same underlying theme, like just like, I'm over it. Like I want to create my own.
Yeah.
Like I want to do something. Like I need to make this happen.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think that's inspiring me right now. Definitely music is definitely an inspiration for sure. All types of music. I love hip hop, and that's where my heart's at. But any type of music. I think honestly, and just the grind, just life. I think every day to make it like what you're saying. Like you can't work for somebody 8 hours a day and then not go home and work for something on yourself.
Yeah.
Like you have to do that.
Yeah.
That's the only way I survive.
Yeah.
I don't care. Like you have to. Dude, do 10 push-ups. That's for yourself.
Yep,
you know what I mean? Like, you don't have to create a podcast and go to the extremes that I've gone, but do something for yourself like that, and then just, you know, bro, I feel like I'm running out of time. It's been like a constant over the last 4 months. That's why I go so hard, so fast. Like, yo, don't stop. Just keep going. Like, okay, took an L, go forward. You're going to take a couple more W's before you take another L.
Yeah.
And then it's just life, man. Like, we're only getting one shot at this. Like, yo, whether or not you believe spiritually that you're going to come back reincarnated or like you're going to go to heaven or this or that, at the end of the day, this meat locker that I have, this is the only meat locker that I get in this version.
Yep.
So I got to push it.
Yep.
You know, if I can see somebody on Instagram making it hella famous off this, or another person who's like beautiful and is like this amazing model.
Yeah.
Where do you fit in there, and where can you, like, what did they do to get there? Well, they all kept grinding.
Yep.
And they just kept pushing. And one day, boom. And maybe one day it won't happen, but as long as you keep grinding, you can't ever say that you didn't put your best foot forward. And it's like, I don't even like saying try anymore. No, we're not going to try. We're going to do.
Yep.
Trying is like half-ass. I'll try to make it out tonight. That usually means no. It's like, no, I'll see you there, bro. Like, I'm going to be there 7 o'clock, right? Yep. Okay, cool. I'll be there. That's it.
Yeah. So, can you give our audience a creative tip or tips, something that may help our Cradle Brew audience?
I'll say it again. Just don't give up on yourself. Period.
Yeah.
Like, you are your number one fan. You are your number one fan. Again, you can. My mom is my biggest fan. You know, my wife will definitely say that she's my biggest fan. But it's like, you, at the end of the day, and this is not to be selfish, but you are the only person that truly has your back.
Yep.
You are the only person who truly is wanting you to succeed, and you are the only person who sees the vision as clearly as you do. You can explain it to somebody. I drew this cup. I made these stickers. I did these things. I roasted this coffee. They can understand. They can kind of get a glimpse, but they'll never really understand what's going on in there.
Yeah.
So, if you believe in yourself, just keep going. Just be creative, dude. And even if you think it sucks, so what? Like, embrace the suck. That's the one thing I always say. Like, if that's my one tip, embrace the suck. Be comfortable being uncomfortable.
Yeah.
just get out there. You're gonna suck. It's gonna happen. You're gonna fall on your face. You're not gonna draw the best comic in the planet. You're not gonna be the best podcaster at first.
Yeah.
But I bet you after a couple times of practice, you're gonna pick some stuff up.
Yeah.
And then after maybe a month, fast forward a year, 5 years, you could be on Joe Rogan talking about, like, I was in Panels Coffee one day just talking to my homie Quantal, and it's like, he asked me this question, and it was like, boom.
Yeah.
Somebody heard it, or somebody sees it go viral, or something like that, and it's like, it's not about being famous.
Yeah.
It's about, bro, you just get out your voice, get out what you want to say, or express of some sort. That's all you got to do.
Yeah.
Just believe in yourself. Keep going.
Yeah. So this is another question. That's a great tip. Another question that I ask. The ideal creative life. If you had the perfect 24 hours, money was not an issue at all, what would it consist of, that perfect 24 hours?
I would get up, I'd go work out, I'd smoke a joint, drink some coffee. Then I'd probably start podcasting like right away.
Yeah.
Just boom, just get it out of the way. Because I feel like in the mornings, especially when I'm not like had all my coffee,
yeah,
I can just roast people. Like I'm like hella witty, like y'all just got jokes, like boom, 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 firing them off.
Yeah.
As the day progresses, I'm a little bit more serious and like focused on what I'm supposed to be doing. So it's like the comedy's gone. So I feel like podcast in the morning, maybe hit like another run in the middle of the day, roast some coffee, create a little bit of art or do something, plan something out, just keep working, and then maybe end it with another podcast in a day and go skate, go on a run, go find a new avenue of something else that I'm like interested in, or go travel, go hit somebody up. Like, honestly, it would be, okay, work out, podcast, roast some coffee, do some coffee things, and then go see friends.
Yeah.
Like, honestly, like, it's so much more enriching to have a social connection, and we're not, like, on our phones. Like, granted, we're doing a podcast with cameras and social media and stuff like that.
Yeah.
But the connection that you have with the person that we're interacting with, whether it's we're doing a podcast or, like, hey, let's go have some dinner.
Yeah.
And enjoying a beer together. It's like, yeah, we could go work out, but I'm going to get to hang out with my homie and have a beer. It's like, oh, yeah, that's a definite W right there. You know? So I would say that's pretty much what I would do. Money, no option, even if there's no money. Even if I had all the money on the planet, I would still work.
Oh, yeah.
It was, I got to keep going.
Yeah. All it is a natural amplifier of who you already are. So, yeah, it's one of those where if even with me, if everything sort of, went to the high gear and, I was, got it to where I wanted to be, I would still be doing this. I'd still be, bringing in people and talking with them and getting insights. And I always see myself as a lifelong learner anyway. So I would still be doing this. It's one of those where, I just enjoy creating. I know you could, definitely compare with that, but just the joy of just expressing yourself and sharing your voice, your authentic voice, and I actually had a quick on a side note, I had one of my good buddies call, and he listens to the podcast, and he was like, well, when were you like that? Because we wrestled together in high school, and he's like, I was always sort of pretty quiet in high school, and it was one of those like, where was that voice in high school? Like, I didn't never you was always quiet. I never heard you say, and I was like, it just took years to sort of create the confidence, build up the confidence to sort of share that create that authentic voice. I think I always had that in me. I've always seen myself as a just as a motivator and things of that sorts. But I think actually sort of packaging it now and sort of focusing on a specific thing and using that voice as a instrument for that. I think now it's really starting to kick up now, and I think a lot of people are enjoying that. But well, for people that's wanting to get in touch with you, people that they might be it might be potential people that may want to get they may want to be guests on your show, or people that just want to subscribe or just check out all the skateboarding videos you got going on Instagram. How can people get in contact with you?
Super easy. The best and quickest way to get a hold of me is at Instagram, at caffeine and green, caffeine _ green, or you can find me at Isaguchi Thing. I think it's ISSIA _ Gucci _ thing. It was trying to be it's a G thing, but it was, that was taken.
Yeah.
So, yeah, just Instagram, just holler at me. I mean, I'm sure he'll have links, so just tap on that, follow me. Also, I have my email available, caffeineandgreen@gmail.com.
Yeah.
Shoot me an email. It is caffeine, the letter N, green, all one word. And then, yeah, just holler at me. I mean, whether it's on my personal or on my Caffeine and Green podcast page, always out, always doing something.
Yeah.
Tell me, holler at me, be like, hey, this person might be interesting, or show me a new coffee shop, or check the skate spot, or like whatever.
Yeah.
I'm literally here for everybody. I just want to talk. I just want to holler at everybody. So.
Cool. Well, this has been another great episode with me, with Cano, and yeah, like I said, it's obviously another awesome episode. Please, like I said, I'm gonna say it again. Hey, please check out his podcast. He's got some great people on there. Always interviewing some interesting characters, and it's San Diego. There's interesting characters everywhere,
Yep,
so it's.
Yep.
I'm sure. Right now, he's actually. What episode are you on right now?
I think I just did 76 last night. I think I
got like 40 more to go.
75 or 70. Yeah, I got like 70. I think, yeah, I did 76 last night, so 77 will be tomorrow.
Oh, wow.
But, oh, yeah, and then if I can, the podcast is on Spotify.
Mm-hmm.
If just search Caffeine and Green, Apple Podcasts, and YouTube, definitely on YouTube, and then Caffeine and Green Podcast, and then also any other platform. Basically, it's streaming everywhere, but those are the three main ones.
Cool.
So, yeah, just holler at me, everybody.
Sweet. Hey, this has been another great episode of the Cradle Brew. Be creative and stay inspired. Thank you.
Thanks, Poncho.
All right, appreciate it.
Yeah.